Captain, incoming message.
It was the dawn of the third age of mankind. Groovy.
Hi-ho. This is me, Kermit the Frog.
Hello there.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Not a great plan.
Program complete. Enter when ready.
Let's see what's out there. Engage.
Hey there, we're those sci-fi guys, and this is that Those Sci-Fi Guys show. Just two working dudes, different lives, different jobs, but a whole lot of love for science fiction and the fun that comes with. We are your hosts. I am P.S. McKay, and I am Dandy, doing a whole hell of a lot better than Mr. DT Calfman's Android phone over here.
And I'm DT Calfman, and I really fucking hate technology sometimes. Really do. I'm not an iPhone fan at all. I really am not. I have to use it for work, and I'm much more comfortable with my Android. But now Android and Mark Zuckerberg seem to be ganging up on me, and I'm not happy. So
Yeah. Out of curiosity, why are you not an Android fan? I'm sorry, an iPhone fan.
Well, the very first real smartphone I got was an Android. So I got comfortable with it. And then when they started giving me iPhones, I started feeling that they were counterintuitive.
Interesting. Kind of like how I will always use a Windows laptop or computer rather than a MacBook or something.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah. I would argue that because so many people are still Windows users, that Apple has had to loosen up their little walled garden in order for it to be compatible with working with Windows machines. But what the hell do I know? And that's it. I mean, I get it. I can understand. You like what you like. So I was just curious.
I do.
That's all. This actually might lay into your frustrations, but my old college roommate, who was a computer engineering major, he had an iPhone first, then he went back to an Android, and then when it came back to upgrading, he went back to iPhone. He's like, thank God, it just works. So, and that's a computer engineering major saying that about an iPhone.
What just works?
The iPhone. He's like, it's nice to have a phone that just works. So,
I had an iPhone that literally just stopped.
Yeah.
I'd had it for 6 months, brand new out of package, stopped. Less than 6 months, just stopped. Wasn't a power issue, nothing, just stopped. Never had that with an Android.
Yeah. Well, see,
Just
yeah, that's
stopped.
the thing.
Did drop it, just put it in my pocket. Was riding in a truck,
Mm-hmm.
just stopped.
Wasn't working. I got you. Yeah, my first iPhone, when they upgraded to iOS 5, it had that data leak that even though I was on Wi-Fi, this is when they still charged for data usage, like it just leaked data, and I burnt through like 5 gigabytes on a 2 gigabyte plan in one night on Wi-Fi at home. And they're like, well, that's not supposed to be affected on AT&T. It's only supposed to be on Verizon. I'm like, well, it's happening to me. So, and then my iPhone 5, the power button stopped working, so I had to use a virtual power button on the screen. And yeah, that was fun. So, but everything's been dandy since iPhone 6. So, for me. But yeah, we are an iPhone family. My wife was the first to adopt. I went in kicking and screaming, thinking I didn't need a smartphone.
Yeah, my wife does not like iPhones either.
Yeah, my wife had an iPhone a full 3 years before I got my first iPhone. A full 3 years. So that's a long time to hold out on the smartphone revolution.
What?
Holding me not getting a smartphone. They were all flip phones for me up to that point.
Until what year?
2011.
2013.
Yeah. All right, so we're grouchy old men who hate change.
Well, for me, it was more being. I had already started becoming very internet focused.
Mm-hmm.
So I was worried about being too attached to the technology, and now I'm way too attached to the technology now.
Oh, I know. It's tough. I had to go to a work dinner the other night last week, and I found myself twitching to check my phone every 2 seconds because I was getting notifications left and right. It just kept buzzing in my pocket, so I just had to turn it off. I couldn't. And I was able to go through the whole dinner without checking my phone after that. But dang, dude, they really know how to keep that serotonin going.
Yeah, it's not a good feeling. So,
anyway,
how's everything?
Pretty good. I had a great weekend. Did you want to discuss your weekend before we talk about what I did?
You go first.
So I took the opportunity, and did I see Ghostbusters? No, I did not. But I did go see the William Shatner biodoc, You Can Call Me Bill. And it was wonderful. Just absolutely wonderful. I fully recommend it.
No spoilers, and keep it light.
Well, here's the thing.
I'm serious.
I'm not going to give anything away that'll ruin the message or anything. All I'm saying is it's not a documentary about his life so much. It was his life. Like William Shatner's gotten very philosophical in the last 15 years or so. I would say, is that fair?
3.
Yeah.
It's been a lot. Been pretty philosophical since he went to space.
Yeah. Well, they do talk about that. But he talks a little bit about his life, growing up in Manitoba and falling in love with theater and whatnot. And there's a lot of neat pictures you've never seen before of him in his life, and it shows his acting career. But it's broken up into different chapters, like the miracle, like the opening chapter. It's an epilogue of we're surrounded by miracles. Life is the miracle. And that means that we're part of that miracle. So you're a miracle and everything. And it it definitely was a movie by a person who is coming to terms with the fact that there are many less days ahead of him than there are behind him. And he even says that in the documentary, which is interesting because it seems like he's coming to terms with it pretty well. He's much more healthy about the idea than I would ever be. And it ends on a very nice message, and it's inspiring. It was a very inspiring documentary. Makes you look at the world a little differently and whatnot, and that's a good thing. It definitely helps you appreciate the finer things in life, or the little things that go unappreciated usually. So beautiful doc, beautifully shot. It was actually crowdsourced, and I don't know if you knew this. Have you ever heard of Legion M? So anyway, I definitely
Legion M, right?
Legion M, yes. Legion M. There was actually one. There were 5 people in the theater with me, and 2 of them left as soon as the credits started rolling. The other 2 stayed with me while we watched the full credits go. There's a list of all the names who contributed, and it was a special production by Legion M. Bill Shatner was like, the fans are the ones who made my career and my life the way it is. So it's only fitting that we made this film for the fans, which was a cute little quote. Because the fans basically funded it. Apparently, it's a little production company that's trying to use crowdfunding to start making films and documentaries, and eventually, more high profile, motion pictures, that are original stuff, that new things that people want to see, but haven't been getting from Hollywood. So. One of the guys there, he actually stopped both of us and goes, "Hey, are you part of Legion M?" And we're like, "No idea." And he explains it because his name was in the credits and stuff. So it was cute, but it's definitely something to look into, Legion M. So, but fully recommend it. If there's any expansion for that doc, see it.
I hope so.
When it comes
the
out on,
place is like 40 minutes away.
That's insane. Is that like closer to Boston?
I don't know. I'd have to look at it, but
yeah. When it comes out on digital, buy it. Don't rent, buy. That's one of those movies that, especially.
Okay.
Dude, he's not getting younger. That's gonna be a movie I'm gonna watch.
I know. I saw him in person last year.
Yeah.
I'm aware.
So. But yeah, that was my weekend. It was very nice. So got to do that.
Glad to hear it.
And you, sir?
Well, Sunday I took myself to go see Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty cool. It was really good.
You liked it?
If you like Afterlife, you will like this.
See, I did like Afterlife. There are a lot of people that didn't like Afterlife, but I liked it a lot.
And I don't know why. If you were a real fan of the original Ghostbusters, then is there plenty of fan service in it? Sure. But they also moved the plot along to a new generation. And I enjoyed it very much. And I also enjoyed this one. The original surviving Ghostbuster members were all a little more involved in this.
How was Bill Murray? Did he act like he wanted to be there?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, he was pretty Venkman-y.
He probably wasn't there for very long then. He had a pretty he must have had like a limited screen time, right?
I mean, Dan Aykroyd, I think, probably had the most out of all of them.
He would.
I mean, he wrote the original with Harold Ramis, but honestly, man, there was a couple of scenes. I mean, was it a huge, but it was more than the cameo or extended cameo he got in Afterlife.
Mm-hmm.
There was a few different scenes with him in it. It was nice.
Good.
It pushed the story along. The characters developed from Afterlife to Frozen Empire. It was a villain that was different. There was, they didn't just cram it filled with, famous guest stars. They all had a little bit of a point. And they helped move the plot along. So I enjoyed it. Yeah, I recommend you watch it.
Okay.
If you liked Afterlife, you will like this one.
There's a good chance I'll see it next weekend. My son is going to see Godzilla X Kong with a friend of his on Friday. I might take him to see Ghostbusters if he's up for it, or I might just go on my own. I don't know yet.
Good.
So we'll figure it out. Yeah. I'm not that motivated to see Godzilla X Kong, by the way. Not after Godzilla -1, which was just a masterpiece. So.
Well, and for me, in addition to doing Ghostbusters on Friday, on Sunday. Friday night, me and Mrs. Calfman went away for an overnight so we could go see Gaelic Storm and the High Kings.
Mm.
Gaelic
And how was
Storm
that,
was a little
that
off.
wonderful?
It was a wonderful time the whole week, the whole overnight. Everything was great. We went to the Foxwoods Casino and Resort out in Connecticut. That was cool. Hadn't been there in years and hadn't seen a show there, so that was cool. We were like seventh row, in like a 2,500 person amphitheater. It was cool, or indoor theater. It was very nice. Gaelic Storm was a little off. One of their founding members was not there because, well, they said he was at home, so I assumed he just wasn't well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he was in the promotional material for the tour, so, and they had like 2 fill-in artists, and they also, the lead singer kind of admitted he had been under the weather and had to go to the ER like 3 stops previously. So you could tell they were a little off, a little flatter than I had seen them last year. High Kings were excellent as well, and they just continue to get better.
Yeah.
But in and around that, like bookending, that was the Waterbury, Connecticut Police pipe and drum corps that came out, and they played, and to kind of warm everybody up, and then they came out with the finale when both bands were out on stage. So between the 10 people from both bands, there was like another 15 from this pipe and drum. So now you're looking at like 25 people up on stage.
That stage is looking a little crowded.
Jamming out. Yeah, well, it did, but it sounded awesome.
Shall I play a little bit?
Oh yes, I actually sent you the part of the finale.
Yeah, let's do that.
Well.
These are police officers.
They are.
Oh, very nice. Very cool.
Yeah. Now, I freely admit that my cell phone probably doesn't get the sound quite as well. But man, it was, to be honest with you, the sound at times was kind of overpowering that close with everybody there. It was wild. But I also got myself in line to meet the High Kings, and they signed my shirt.
Oh, how cool.
All 4 of them. So,
nice.
Yep. They were nice. I had a second shirt I got for my daughter. It's like, oh, do you want us to sign, both shirts? I was like, yeah, one's for my daughter. She loves one of their songs. They have a song called Chasing Rainbows. It's kind of a fun, upbeat, like going on the town with a girl kind of song.
Yeah.
An original by them. So it's also one of the ones that they have on a lot of their promotional material. Mm-hmm. So it's just a lot of fun. So they signed to her, and it was really neat. It was a lot of fun. I look forward. I hope they do this tour every year. They did it last year. Was the first year. This year is the second year. I'm hoping that they do it, because I'd like to make a tradition out of this. man, it is so fun, and it's just such an experience.
Yeah.
And Mrs. Calfman is a full convert to the High Kings.
Full on convert.
Oh yeah, she's a little leery on Gaelic Storm, but she's willing to give him another chance at full strength, which I think is fair.
Mm-hmm.
You can go see a band and then they're flat, and then you're like, oh man, I guess if I want to listen to them, I better listen to them on the radio. But then everybody tells you, oh my God, they're so awesome live. So you're like, did I get the one bad show? And
Well,
sometimes you do.
it's
I
funny
could at
you
least-
mentioned that. Yeah.
I could at least say there was a difference from last year to this year.
Right.
So,
Right. I'll say this, when I saw Matchbox 20 last summer, their bass guitarist became violently ill the night before the concert. And like some
that's not
norovirus
fun.
illness. Yeah, so
getting
they were
violently
like,
ill on stage. Now that's a stage act.
it didn't work that way, but
Front
so they
rows
were,
are splash zone.
oh God. Oh, don't. Oh, I just ate, dude. But they were actually contemplating if they had to like postpone the concert again, because by the way, it had been postponed for 2.5 years.
Yours was the COVID makeup.
Yeah, it was, because we bought those tickets in January of 2020, and it was supposed to be in like July of 2020 that the concert was. So they were like,
yeah,
the drummer knew a guy in LA. And so Rob Thomas calls him and he goes, hey, Jeff, do you think you could learn this set list on the drive up to Fresno? And Jeff's like, I could try. I'll be up there in 4 hours. Okay. So he's just driving up, getting familiar with the set list in his head, and he killed it. He flipping killed it.
Gaelic Storm had two dudes come in. This guitar player from Columbus, Ohio, who they picked up on the Midwest leg of the tour, and then this kid I swear to God, this kid looked like he was 12. I think they said he was like 21 or 22, like from like a bluegrass guitar player from Kentucky. I turned to Mrs. Cabin. I'm like, did they just follow like the last three? Last year they picked up a fiddle player from Lowell, and now they're picking up someone from Ohio and Kentucky. Are they just following us? That's like the last. That's like the last 4 years of our lives is those three places.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, this kid could pick, and they let him get up there and pick some bluegrass for people. Yeah, it was wild. And speaking of Rob Thomas, he's actually going to be at Foxwoods in like a month.
Oh, is he really?
Just Rob Thomas, not the other 19 people from Matchbox 20.
Well, I wouldn't say it was 19, but yeah, it was a lot. It was a great concert. I'm glad I went to that. I'm glad that they didn't have to postpone, because that would have just sucked.
If they had postponed it, it would have been Matchbox 20 in 2040.
I know,
you
right?
You can't get 2020 again, so.
No, and yeah. And it was, the Wallflowers were supposed to open for them. And of course, with all the delays and everything, the Wallflowers had their own schedule to keep. So Matt Nathanson ended up opening. But they told us in advance, so no one was disappointed.
The Wallflowers, isn't that Bob Dylan's kid?
Mm-hmm. Jacob Dylan.
Yeah, I've got a couple of songs by them. They're pretty good.
Yeah. Same Black Line that was drawn on you was drawn on me. 6th Avenue Heartache. They actually had a song that came out in 2012. Oh crud! Like Love Is a Battlefield. That's not that though. It's
Love Is a Battlefield. The 80s ballad.
I know. It's not that. It came out. Okay, for their album Glad All Over. Oh, Love Is a Country. It's a good song. Came out in 2012. They still had their sound. It was good.
Fair enough.
So.
Well, it
was definitely fun to look forward to something. And now.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I was excited since Christmas when I got those tickets to go see. Mm-hmm. And I found myself a little bit of a dearth right now. Like there's not a lot of sci-fi I'm overly excited to see. There's not really a whole lot that's piquing my interest. I mean, I want to see how the rest of Bad Batch season 3 finishes up, because they're humming right now.
Are they?
They really are. So far, episode to episode this season, it's the best that the Bad Batch has been, which is saying something.
That is saying something.
I mean, I do want to see, I always look forward to Lower Decks when it comes out, but, there, like I said, there's a lot of, like, Marvel's kind of dead. Star Wars is, Star Trek, they're all, there's concerns and questions. And, we also just came out of award season, and, what's really bothered me is I was sitting there, and I just recently watched, some of these affected episodes, the ones that affected us, and you're like, man, this is some excellent writing, and there's some phenomenal acting in this. Why didn't somebody get an Emmy for this? Right. And so it started thinking, why is legit sci-fi like Star Trek, even Star Wars, why is there just not enough love given from critics and from the awards? What the hell are you doing?
It's almost as if they just don't understand.
Clickety clack down the track over there.
I know. I'm
in
just
my
saying,
ears.
Sorry, I didn't realize it was that loud. It's I mentioned this briefly about how the executives don't understand sci-fi, and the people that are attracted to those executive positions, their personalities are never going to like sci-fi. They just won't. I mean, George Lucas was different because he started his own company for artistic freedom. And then as soon as he hands over Lucasfilm to an executive, we're now in a weird stale portion of Star Wars history where we don't know what they're doing. They don't know. They clearly don't know what they're doing. We haven't had one single movie come out in over 5 years. And look at Star Trek. I mean, Les Moonves canceled Enterprise. And then he's like, well, we'll bring back Star Trek. And he didn't know the difference between Star Trek and Star Wars. He only wanted to bring Star Trek back because he wanted to entice the nerds who are technologically proficient to want the CBS streaming service.
Yeah, I'm a big Star Trek and Star Wars nerd. I'm really starting to determine whether or not I'm actually technologically proficient.
It's been a bit trying for you tonight, that's for sure.
Tell me about it.
So, I think it just stems to the fact that job qualities or personality qualities that are required in a certain position to greenlight this crap are just not there. They're not congruent enough to overlap and to actually care and understand what these stories are. I mean, does that make sense?
It does. I mean, it's really also sad because when you think about it, you have all of these people who really put on fantastic, or historically have put on fantastic science fiction, and now we're replacing it with flash over substance in some spots.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh, sure.
And then
that's the easiest way to you put a nice shine on it.
Oh yeah, shine. That's exactly what we need. What we need, what we really need is people who know what the fuck they're doing and who care about the IP. And that's not what we're getting. We're getting people
not only who
want
care about it, but don't want to change it to send their own particular message out that is incompatible with what Star Trek was about.
There's it's not just Star Trek either when you think about it. The weakness behind Star Wars at times has been baffling. And yeah, I freely admit I was a bit frustrated with as a kid, or at least as a teenager and a young adult. I didn't appreciate some things in the prequels that I appreciate more now. Like the political shit. I'm not a political monster at all. I don't. I don't even like it when I'm. When it comes to voting time at times. It's just aggravating. But I tell you, the intrigue that was built into the prequels, and then you see it expanded in the Clone Wars, and you're like, man, this is good shit. And since George's hands were in the original version of the Clone Wars,
yeah,
you got to see the expansion of his vision.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And how that period of time is fascinating.
Well, I mean, there are heroes on both sides, right? per Revenge of the Sith, right? So
that was the title of a pretty solid Clone Wars episode, actually.
Heroes on both sides.
Yeah. Padme and Ahsoka sneak behind enemy lines to meet with her mentor, who is a separatist senator.
That was the first Clone Wars episode I ever saw.
It was a good one.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. This is like back in what? Probably 2010 or something. I just had a newborn. Right. We weren't doing anything. Like we were just stuck at home with a newborn. So, yeah.
The Clone Wars really showed, and of course, Filoni definitely is Lucas's protege. I mean, it's very clear. He's the lore master. He takes it seriously, but he also isn't 100% pigeonholed, which is why you've seen him dive into legends like Thrawn and other things to dig out. And apparently there was supposed to be the Yuuzhan Vong was supposed to be in a later season of the Clone Wars before the Disney buyout and the cancellation.
Right.
So
I also,
one of the
when did the last season of Clone Wars come out?
So the 5th season was the last full season produced. They were halfway through season 6 when everything ground to a halt because of the Disney sale. And that was the 13 episodes that were dropped on the
Netflix
as the Lost Missions on Netflix.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that included the Fives and the inhibitor chip arc, which was fantastic and heartbreaking. And then you get, the Bad Batch was originally an arc from season, I think it was late season 6. They used to have on the internet, and I think it was in some DVD sets of the later seasons of the Clone Wars, was the rough digital sketches of some pieces of the original Bad Batch arc, and another one. There's the video of a clip of Anakin and Obi-Wan talking about Anakin's feelings on Ahsoka leaving the Order. So there was some of that. There was supposed to be, and there was a sketch of the duel between Boba Fett and Cad Bane, which is where Boba gets the dent in his helmet.
Right.
So,
and he keeps it there.
Right, and it's another reason why it's clear that Filoni believes that's canon, because that's what they alluded to when Cad Bane and Boba Fett do their showdown in the Book of Boba Fett.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I'm about to give you one more lesson. So and if you watch episodes of the Clone Wars, and I will turn them off feeling like a knife in the heart, like how the fuck didn't this get award, like legit awards consideration? And I'm not saying that things like the Saturn Awards aren't legit awards, and these are all those awards that these people get are well earned. Saturn Award, Hugo Award, all of these. But man, some of these were, some of these Clone Wars episodes were Emmy worthy,
Right.
and others are, you mean to tell me that Best of Both Worlds just wasn't the acting wasn't excellent, or things like that?
The tension, the writing was just fantastic. I mean, all of it was there. The very real potential that we would lose a main character again. It was precedented. Again, they don't understand it, and they think it's childish. That it doesn't actually, it doesn't appeal to people who take things seriously, I would say. So why would the critics bother? So why would the critics bother entertaining that when they don't want to deal with some kiddie crap? I'm positive that that's the case. It's got to be true. I don't know. I mean, all I could say is, though, that the fact that there's been so many projects that have been misunderstood, mishandled, misjudged, I am seriously not looking forward to a lot of things. And in fact, when they start making announcements, like, here we go. They just made an announcement that the next Pirates of the Caribbean movie, or Caribbean, is going to be a complete reboot. And I'm like, no, I don't want it. I don't want it. Maybe I would want it with Johnny Depp, but even then, I'm like, at this point, what are you going to do to ruin this? Like, I was nervous about Thrawn being in Ahsoka because he was not the smartest version of Thrawn that is out there in Ahsoka. It actually kind of was weird. So
he was in exile.
I understand, but you can still be smart even after being in exile. All of that, it just, you begin to lose that hunger, because it's really going to taste. It's going to taste sour the next time they serve it to you, because it was sour the last time.
Perhaps. So I'm going to throw some things at you, and I want you to. So I looked up list of accolades and awards won by Star Wars. Okay.
Oscar for best editing.
Yeah. So the 11 live action films together have been nominated for 37 Academy Awards, of which they have won 7. We're also awarded a total of 3 special achievement awards. Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi received achievement awards for their visual effects, and Star Wars received a special for its alien and robot voices. The original film was nominated for most of the major categories, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Original Screenplay, and Best Supporting Actor. All the sequels have been nominated for technical categories.
Wait, was that Alec Guinness?
Yes, it was Alec Guinness. George Lucas did a big push for them. George Lucas also did a huge push for Frank Oz to be nominated as Yoda, which is impressive. So if you're looking right now, A New Hope won Best Art Direction, Best Costume, Best Film Editing, Best Original Score. That's a big one. Because it's John Williams and one of the most iconic scores in movie history. Best Sound, Best Visual Effects, a Special Achievement Award for the creation of aliens and robots. Empire was nominated for Best Original Score, and I think John Williams actually beat himself in that year. It was either that or or it was for Return of the Jedi. One of them he lost to himself for another movie, like E.T. or Raiders or something.
I bet it was Raiders.
Yeah. Let's see. Nominated best original score, best art direction, one for best sound, one for special achievement for visual effects. Jedi was nominated for best original score, best art direction, best sound editing, one for a special
all
achievement.
Crafty technical stuff.
Yeah. Phantom Menace was nominated for shit, didn't win anything. Attack of the Clones, visual effects, Revenge of the Sith. They're all multiple nominations, or all had nominations, all didn't win. Outside of original score for like The Force Awakens, it was all sound mixing, sound editing, visual effects. They didn't even fucking win. I mean, this is Star Wars, man.
Mm-hmm.
Golden Globe.
It was a cultural touchstone.
Yeah. Golden Globes. It was looks like only Empire and the original had any nominations for Golden Globes. BAFTAs looks like that's a little bit more. Of course, John Williams wins. Again, the only thing they won at BAFTAs were technical kinds of awards and John Williams. But nominated for a Grammy, let me guess who won? John Williams. Of course. They was nominated for Album of the Year at the Grammys. That is impressive when you think about it.
No, that's true. That's impressive. But again,
but again, it's all the only things they seem to win are for music and soundtracks, right?
Or technical achievements.
Right, yeah. Now, Saturn Awards, Hugo Awards, they've got, best science fiction film, best director, best writing.
I remember when my family would gather around the television to watch the Saturn Awards. Oh no, wait, they never aired them.
Yeah.
Or the Hugo Awards. Oh no, that wasn't aired either. Like we were just told, and we were told that they won this award or that award out of the Saturn Awards or whatnot, and we just had to take it, take their word for it.
Yeah. I mean, they won big. Star Wars is winning big in the Saturn Awards, which you would expect. Which is still very frustrating.
Very.
I mean, yes, it's very much designed for basically to give. It's basically designed to give people awards who really do deserve them, but aren't going to be accepted by the major awards, which is aggravating, because the plot of A New Hope wasn't exactly an original story, but damn, it was entertaining. And it was pretty technically sound across the board.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about how it wasn't an original story. It absolutely wasn't. I mean, George Lucas just went to the model of the myth,
Arthurian legend, the mythical archetypes, Kurosawa, and westerns. Slapped them all together and said, "Hey, America, you're welcome."
Yeah. No.
And we said, "Thank you, George. I will have another." Mm-hmm. And I will have another. And I will have another.
And they wrapped that line around that block, hence the blockbuster.
I mean, the list of awards and nominations by Star Trek, the original series. Let's see. Oh, how many enemies? Actually had a decent amount of enemies, including nominations for All nominations. But Leonard Nimoy was nominated. Oh, what do you know? No wins. What a surprise. What a surprise.
Yeah, and that was back when there were like 3 channels.
They
maybe
They won
PBS.
2 Hugos and a Saturn Award and a TV Land Award for
Oh,
Pop
good.
2003 Pop Culture Award.
So
Oh,
Lifetime
they won a
Achievement
Writers
Award.
Guild of American Award for City on the Edge of Forever. Actually, that's kind of impressive.
That was good. But they
It went to
didn't win an
Harlan
Emmy for
Ellison,
that, huh?
who fucking hated it. Who hated the original version or the version that ended up on TV. But
What did he hate about that?
They changed too much of it. There was like a drug ring. The original.
Okay.
Yeah, and there was yeah. Let's see. Okay. Let us see. Trek. I seem to recall Patrick Stewart maybe getting nominated for an Emmy in his last year. Maybe it was a Golden Globe or something. But Emery Alpha will go ahead and tell me what, if any, Academy Awards. Oh, well, the Star Trek The Motion Picture was nominated for such amazing things as art direction, music, well done, visual effects, all nominated. The next Star Trek movie to receive anything was The Voyage Home, which had cinematography, music, sound, and sound editing. Then Star Trek VI, which was makeup and sound effects, all nominations. First Contact was nominated for makeup. The first Academy Award is from Star Trek 09, which won for Best Achievement in Makeup. Then it was nominated for sound editing, achievement in sound mixing, and visual effects. Into Darkness was achievement of visual effects nomination, and Beyond was best hairstyle and makeup.
Right.
Wow, there's like things I don't even know what the hell these are. The award circuit community awards, Art Directors
Oh my
Guild
God.
Excellence. Let's see. Alma, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Annie's. Wait, the Annie's?
I don't know what that is.
Animation. They're for animation. Annual awards which honor achievement in film, video, television, advertising, animation, including voiceover performance. Among past hosts. What? Into Darkness received. Well, I guess. Oh, Lower Decks has received 2 nominations.
Oh God.
An animated show, but they're an animated show, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't even get the Astro Awards. Holy Christ! I mean, I could. Austin Film Critics Association, BAFTA Children's, Star Trek Into Darkness. BAFTA. Okay. All right. So Star Trek 09 and Into Darkness were both nominated for special effects and sound.
Which,
Blockbuster Entertainment.
that stuff isn't even that much of an achievement anymore.
Well, it's almost expected if you're a Star Trek or a Star Wars show.
Right?
Right?
And I don't know, Dune, you would think, I mean, Dune did it differently. I don't know, but at the time, Star Trek 09, and we saw Starfleet from a very different angle, multiply different angles, upside down most half the time, like to show the lack of gravity in space. There is no up or down.
Boston Society of Film Critics Award, Star Trek 09 won Best Ensemble Cast.
Well, I mean, I'm going to go on record. I enjoyed Star Trek 09. It was
I'm not knocking it either. I'm just going down a list. Memory Alpha has a list of awards won by Star Trek. But like I'm in the Central Ohio Film Critics Association Award right now. Critics' Choice. All right. Discovery Season 3 was nominated for Best Science Fiction. Picard Season 1. Star Trek Legacy Award. Well, of course, it won the Star Trek Legacy Award. Critics' Choice Super Award. Picard Season 1. Best Actor in a Science Fiction Film Fantasy. Okay. Patty Stew wins a Critics' Choice. Good for you, dude. Diamond Awards, the Diamond Gem Awards. Holy Moses. Directors Guild of Canada Awards, the Dragon Awards. Oh, from Dragon Con. Of course. DVD exclusive. DVD exclusive
Europe.
awards. All right,
Like
here's the
Mack
Emmys.
does.
Star Trek television productions proper have won 38 Emmys out of 182 nominations from 1967 through 2023, augmented with 2 additional nominations for a 2006 Star Trek reference television documentary and a 2018 special award for the entirety of the television franchise. Michael Westmore, Dan Curry, and Ron B. Moore share 56 nominations between them, co-winning 17, which astonishingly, yeah. So Michael Westmore and company won Emmys for, looks like for makeup and such. Star Trek, the animated series, is the only Star Trek series to win a major Emmy. It was twice nominated for Daytime Emmy Award for Outstanding Children's Series and won in 1975.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, good for them.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Wild. It's wild, man.
Again, and yeah, it just goes to show the people in charge are very, I wouldn't even say in charge, but the people who are, get to choose these kinds of things and in the mainstream, they're a very selective, snooty bunch. And sure, they'll say, oh yeah, I'm a big Star Trek fan, or I love Star Trek growing up, or something like that. They're not. This didn't change anything. They didn't. I can guarantee you they wouldn't be able to tell you the difference between Captain Picard or Captain Kirk. Or Captain Solo. They would have no idea.
I know. For the Emmys, among actors, only Leonard Nimoy had been nominated for any acting.
And you look, I saw, looking at the documentary for Shatner this past weekend, they showed a lot of clips of stuff that he was in. They talked about his role, Denny Crane, in Boston Legal. And
well, he did win an Emmy for that.
And as he should have. And here's how. He would talk about how every time he would enter a room or a scene, he'd be like, Denny Crane. And they're like, yes, you are. It's so interesting that you have to keep reminding us of this. And Shatter would go, I got these scripts and I would have to enter the room and just say my character's name. I didn't know why. I had no idea why or how I was supposed to do it. And I wasn't getting anything from David E. Kelly about this. Just I had to do it. So he said, so I thought about a lizard that when it enters a new environment, kind of just sticks out its tongue real quick, tastes the air to get an idea of what kind of environment they are entering. And then I'm like, that's Denny Crane. He throws out his name just to test the atmosphere and what kind of situation he's walking into, whether people are, arguing, or it's a jovial atmosphere or adversarial, And I'm like, wow, that is an amazing interpretation of that, because that worked. And they showed examples from Boston Legal about that. And then he talked about, and then the last 2 seasons I started being given instructions to say cue the music as I left. Like, cue the music? What? Why would I cue the music? It just randomly? Okay. So, and that he couldn't understand until the very last episode when he's standing there and he's told to look at the camera and say cue the music. He's like, oh, my character realizes he's in a TV show. So he was alluding this whole time, cue the music as he left.
Yeah.
And that was cute. And it was, they showed that final shot of him, and that was neat. I liked that. It was fun. But he's a good actor. I mean, he's parodied a lot, but you over exaggerate a person's qualities when you do a parody. And
as you should.
Right. And if you look back at Red Letter Media, they do a retrospective on Star Trek the Motion Picture. And some people will think that movie's boring. It's super sci-fi, right? But Shatner,
it is slow.
It is slow. It's super sci-fi. But Shatner's gravitas in that movie, he basically carries that whole movie with just by himself. It's amazing, and I fully recommend. I could find the video for you.
That's one of those famous Spock. When Spock shows up on the bridge.
Spock. Yeah. But it doesn't look exaggerated in the scene. He's genuinely shocked.
No. He's Spock.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. So,
and that's how you get that.
Mm-hmm. So,
brother, I feel you. It is something that's been going up my backside for years. There's people who, like when you see Patrick Stewart, they talk about him on his, this Shakespearean actor who brings such gravitas to this role. And everybody likes to talk, about Patrick Stewart as this grand Shakespearean actor who, took on Dickens and as Scrooge, and then he took on Melville as Ahab and Shakespeare.
I remember that.
All 90s, on TV. Yeah. All of these TV movies.
Animal House. He did George Orwell.
Animal Farm.
Animal House. Animal Farm. He did Jim Belushi.
The more you read, the more you see about Patrick Stewart later on, you're like, maybe. I mean, he was poop. He was poop.
He was the poo emoji. Where number 2? Where number? I'm sitting here like, you're Patrick Stewart. Why? Blood
Sir
talk.
Pat Stool.
Oh.
Look, I like a guy who can be both that cornerstone gravitas, that man who, that Picard speech, as well as somebody who is, willingness to be extraordinarily silly.
Sure.
But he has this reputation now as being this living legend, this iconic actor, and none of you motherfuckers have nominated him for jack shit.
Mm-hmm. You all say he's an icon. You all say he is, but where were you when he was being that icon? Right?
The lip service is fucking sheer fucking hubris. There you go.
And how dare they say that to him, by the way? Just the insult of it all. It just, I don't know. And I'm going to bring Stargate SG-1 into this whole thing. There's been a lot of...
Just a heads up, just so that we're all aware. Star Trek The Next Generation was nominated for Outstanding Drama Series in its seventh season.
Oh my god! And it's like that's the third weakest season.
That being said, if you're going to go ahead and throw it out there, that's it. But you know who didn't get one?
Episode Masks.
Yeah.
Who didn't get nominated? Deep Space Nine.
Patrick Stewart.
Oh yeah.
Didn't get nominated.
Oh my god, Avery Brooks, dude.
Avery Brooks is an acting powerhouse in and of itself. Why he was not nominated either is beyond me. Kate Mulgrew. I mean, these actors who were the cornerstones, particularly of the first 4 series, all have legit acting chops. And I'm not sliding.
An Emmy for supporting actress for Orange Is the New Black.
Wouldn't surprise me. She's a hell of an actress. I mean, Scott Bakula. There's nothing not like about how Scott Bakula is as an actor. He's just eminently likable.
Yes.
And he's particularly later in Enterprise, he really could bring some gravitas. But I mean, Stewart and Avery Brooks, in my opinion, are the 2 strongest actors who led series.
Yes. Agreed.
Just my opinion.
I'm not gonna argue with that one. But Shatner's his own thing.
Yeah, he really is.
So, I keep thinking about it. So, and going back to the executives who don't understand, I want to point something out. The Rings of Power. Let's see. The Rings of Power, big investment by Amazon. They literally spent $200 million just to get the rights to tell not even a story. It's an index to reference the index of Cimarron and whatever it is. I'm not a Tolkien person. I loved the movies. I read the books once. Once? Seriously? I'd put up 2. I read the books once. I loved it. I respect it. I know there's a deeper lore to it, and I am not trying to dismiss that in any way, shape, or form. I think that that's great. I just haven't been able to do that. That being said, Amazon spent $500 million additional on the Rings of Power Season 1. And it flopped. 36%.
$1 billion.
36% of the people who started watching Rings of Power actually finished that first season. It's so bad that the showrunners had been kicked down to an advisory role only, and they moved the production from New Zealand to London. I don't know why. I don't understand. That sounds like it's much more expensive to do that than it is to keep it in New Zealand, but whatever. But Amazon bought MGM. All the rights, all the film, all the catalogs, all that. Amazon bought MGM. MGM owned Stargate and Stargate SG-1.
Mon Dieu.
There has been a big push by Stargate fans to have Amazon, revive the series. I mean, Brad Wright wrote a new pilot. He was the creator of the TV show. All the pieces are there. So, all the pieces are there to have like a good revival with the right original people, and you could do a handoff, like teach the incoming writers and the showrunners what to do. And I am convinced that because Rings of Power failed, Amazon is like, well, obviously the streaming fans don't want, fantasy, and they definitely don't want sci-fi. Because look at all the hate that Star Trek's getting right now, or Star Wars. Amazon's seeing all of this. They're seeing this. And now they're gun shy when it comes to actually investing in their properties.
See, this is where they're full of shit. Okay, they bought the scraps of Tolkien.
Yeah.
You can't make chicken salad from chicken shit. I'm
They
sorry.
definitely thought they could, because they're like, hey, we'll make it look like Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. We'll have all this great name recognition, and they'll eat it up. They'll eat it up. Well, the come to find out, and this is what executives don't understand, fantasy and sci-fi fans are very sophisticated. Very sophisticated, especially when it comes to these heady pieces of work.
Well, that's the truth. I mean,
So-
it is what it is, but I mean, seriously. You want to listen to something wild?
Sure.
Patrick Stewart has been nominated for 4 Emmys. Do you know how many for Star Trek?
None.
None. Nominated in 1998 for Moby Dick.
Yep.
Nominated for television movie The Lion in Winter. Nominated for guest actor in a comedy series for Extras, which is your favorite thing. And nominated for supporting actor in a limited series or movie for Hamlet in 2010. Those are his only Emmy nominations. He's nominated for 3 Grammys, 2 for Moby Dick and Lion in Winter, 1 for Blunt Talk. That's pretty funny. He has a Grammy for a spoken word album for children, Peter and the Wolf.
Wow.
Yeah. He's been nominated for Tony.
I've seen
He
it.
has.
Yeah, I've seen it all.
I know you have, Pat. He's been nominated for SAG Awards for The Next Generation
Yeah.
in 1994, Christmas Carol in 1999, and Macbeth in 2010. For miscellaneous awards, which is a bit insulting because he's a sci-fi actor, Saturn Award is listed under miscellaneous. 1990 Best Genre Actor for Star Trek The Next Generation wins in 1990. A Saturn. Nominated for Best Actor in First Contact. Nominated for Best Actor in Television for A Christmas Carol, which I guess would fit because of all the ghosts. Nominated for Best Supporting Actor in X-Men in 2001 and won for Logan in 2018. Won for Best Actor in Star Trek Picard in 21 and a Lifetime Achievement Award with the cast of Star Trek Next Generation.
He got nominated for probably the crappiest season of Picard ever.
Look, man, I don't invent this shit.
I mean, he only got nominated because they tackled the idea of mental health and self-harm. That's it. And he was overcoming that pain. Like, okay, but that was so contrived and
I know it is, but this is how aggravating this is. I mean, he was knighted by the Queen for his contributions to the arts.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're going to talk about being given a major prestigious award, that's pretty impressive. Hard to argue with it.
Super hard to argue with that. I would take that. I would take that over any Oscar any day or Emmy. But technically that kind of just those two are not mutually exclusive.
Oh, Lord. And granted, I'm also generally not the guy who's been piled in to see the when the Oscars drop their whatever 8 or 10 best picture nominees. I regularly at best have seen one of these.
You and the rest of America, because all of those, the idea of expanding it from 5 to 10 was to be able to give the blockbusters an opportunity to be nominated alongside these art house films. And that totally backfired because there were just more art house films to put in there instead. And so they created the blockbuster category, the audience favorite category, whatever.
Well, Black Panther did slide in as a nomination. But that's about it, man.
Black Panther was not a bad superhero movie, but was that worthy of an Oscar?
The original Black Panther?
Yeah.
It definitely tackled some hard truths. For a superhero movie?
The anniversary of me seeing that movie just popped up from 5 years ago, or was it 6 years ago? 6 years ago. So
it was a fantastic superhero movie, and it was just in general a very.
I would say it was good. I would say it was good, but dude, apparently in Africa it was not well received. Like they were like, this is what Hollywood thinks we are. We ride rhinos.
Hey, preaching to the choir, man. Everybody thinks we're John fucking Wayne here in the military.
You're not?
Well, for starters, I'm not 6'4".
Ah, there's your first strike.
And please understand this next statement. I love John Wayne, but I actually served my country.
That's true. This is true.
Like I said, I love John Wayne. I love John Wayne movies, but I did serve my country.
You both played football.
Yeah, well, he at least played collegiately. I'll give him that. I barely played high school.
Did you play all 4 years?
I did.
You did. Good for you. I was in the stands, and I don't remember a single damn football game for that freshman year. I don't remember any plays. I don't remember anything.
I remember more than I expect. That being said, look, the fact of the matter is, like, I think it was last year, Angela Bassett was nominated for Best Supporting Actress for Black Panther.
And Angela Bassett has the chops to be able to earn that nomination. I can't say.
I mean, holy shit!
I didn't see it.
There's so many. I mean, Marvel movies just stack themselves with Oscar winners and big name players across the board nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Redford, Glenn Close, Sylvester Stallone, Kurt Russell. Angela Bassett. We're talking people who have either been, major Hollywood stars, Oscar winners, Oscar nominees. I mean, every movie has to have at least like one Hollywood legend in there.
Right.
I mean, it seems almost without fail you need to have one.
Yeah. Well, that was a way to give these movies a little bit of legitimacy, and also this was back when being a movie star meant something. It wasn't that long ago. I mean, movie stars still brought in audiences.
Now, forgive me, but
back then,
did Robert Downey Jr. not just win an Academy Award?
Oh yeah, he totally did.
And he's been nominated before.
That I can't recall.
I believe he was for
I genuinely can't recall. I wouldn't be surprised. Chaplin was a really good movie.
So was Tropic Thunder. I'm not entirely sure that he was going to nominate RDJ for that. Although it's fantastic satire.
I haven't seen Tropic Thunder. Well, I started to watch it, but then I fell asleep, and then I know I need to see it. It's funny because when we were on our honeymoon in Kauai, they were filming there. Like, we saw all the signs for Tropic Thunder on all the country roads and everything. We're like, what the hell is this? We're like, I mean, we were living in LA. We knew what these movie signs were, these production cards and everything. We knew what that meant. We're like, well, they're definitely filming something called Tropic Thunder. Like, and then the next year, the promotional photos came out, and Robert Downey Jr.'s on the cover of Entertainment Weekly in that character. And I'm like, holy shit. What? So it's funny because RDJ said that he never really got a lot of gruff for that makeup. It was what was it? It was Stiller and Jack Black who got a lot of lashback for what they did in that movie.
Well, Stiller for the simple Jack character. But again, this was another. They were taking the piss out of people who would go and play. We'll call them mentally deficient people, or neurologically.
If you say divergent, I'm gonna pop you through the screen.
I'm trying to use the correct terminology.
I don't even know what you're trying to say. I mean, if we're talking about a
special needs,
neurological disability,
yeah,
special needs, you can say that, something like that. That's fine. There's nothing offensive about that.
Dude, I think I'm like 2 or 3 lingos behind. I'm just trying to catch up.
Hey, you know what? The best way to slow it down is to not keep the pace.
Needless to say,
not go along with it.
Don't get me wrong, man. There are some powerhouse actors who you can go ahead and turn on a TV show and go, man, that guy's good. You know, or that woman can act. You know, that someone's making me feel something.
Sure.
You know, but you go ahead and you've set them 200 years in the future, or give them elf ears and kiss that golden trophy goodbye.
Oh yeah, it's true.
I mean, the fact that Lord of the Rings, Return of the King won Best Picture should tell you just how damn good that movie was, that it got past fucking Hollywood foreign press.
It had 11. It had the full sweep of 11 wins on 11 nominations. That is probably the last time that a real blockbuster actually got the attention of the Academy and won so seriously. Ever since then, can you remember the name of the film that won in 2004, the year after, or 2005, the year after? Nope. I mean, all I know is that Moonlight won a few years ago because Annette Bening said La La Land when she opened the envelope when it was really Moonlight. So
oh yeah, that was a wonderful
and that's the only reason why I know that Moonlight won. Have I seen that movie? No. And there's also a reason why none of those movies are making heavy rounds on cable. None. I mean, hell, La La
Saving
Land
Private
can't really
Ryan
find
lost
anywhere.
to Shakespeare in Love. Remember that?
Oh my god, I was pissed about that. First of all, it took me a couple years.
Everyone was pissed about that.
It was a couple years before I saw Shakespeare in Love when I was in college, and I watched this. I'm like, this beat out Saving Private Ryan. This. I walked out of Saving Private Ryan scarred. You remember? I couldn't talk.
No, you're welcome.
I was like, my ears were ringing. I was having tunnel vision. Like, what did I just watch? Like, oh my god!
You watched some serious shit.
I did, and let me just say, I watched it. I didn't live it. Like, I did not live it. But dang. So. Yeah, I mean, and so here's the other question then, DT. I mean, we just went on a diatribe about why the Oscars technically don't even matter anymore, because they're not a reflection of what people truly think a good film is. They haven't been since 2003, 2004. They just haven't. So
bags.
So the question would be,
here's the
why
question.
do we even care about them? About them? These pretenders giving accolades or
because you and I are both still a little bit that old school. Wouldn't it just be fantastic to see Patrick Stewart receive an Emmy in general for acting, but as playing Jean-Luc Picard? Don't you think he earned it in season 3 of Picard? I mean, if you were to just say who won best actor, and somebody said, "Oh, Patrick Stewart won," how many people would go, "Really?" No, you're not.
No, they'd go, "Oh wow, yeah, finally that guy." I mean,
because he's reached the point now where most people know who he is.
Right. Oh hell, I mean, his name is Captain Jean-Luc Picard was mentioned in the horror comedy movie The Babysitter, where this babysitter is debating with the babysat, like, who do you want on your team to get through a zombie apocalypse, Captain Picard or Captain America or something like that. It wasn't that, but it's like, wow, the fact that they're even talking about this in such a random genre, that means that the Next Generation affected entertainment, and it would have been nice to be able to see that reflected in back in the day, because I always felt that Star Trek, The Next Generation, and Deep Space Nine and all that, they were on the fringe of society. You didn't have social media to know what people were really talking about. So I always just felt like it was over there. So I had to go over there and stay away from over here, because if they knew I was over there, I would never hear the end of it. But if it got that kind of back, I know.
Over there.
If it got that kind of was it rubber stamp of approval? That's not the term I'm thinking of, but that's all I could think of.
I get
the
what
word?
you mean.
Approval,
Mainstream.
Recognition. Yeah. It would have been very different. It would have been very different growing up. But,
Look, I'm not saying that we needed it then. I think we needed it now. Patrick Stewart winning for Jean-Luc Picard after 35 years or whatever of playing the character and having some, particularly in his golden years, and still throwing together a powerhouse performance.
Sure.
I mean, why not?
Here's the thing. I would love to see him win that for Captain Picard, but the pragmatist in me has to say he wasn't that good to warrant an Emmy in Picard season 3. Picard season 3 was good. Don't get me wrong. He was very nice.
The scene with him and Crusher yelling at each other alone was
good. That was fantastic. And by the way, that was a very well-written argument too, because neither of them were wrong. They were both right in their own respects.
And they were both wrong.
Yeah.
They were both right and they were both wrong. And it was that good. The fact of the matter is, you still got those Picard moments. You still got those moments of bravado, but you also got those moments of self-doubt. I'm just saying, that was like a golden opportunity. All right. Of all the seasons of Picard, season 3 would be the one you would have expected him to win one. Something.
Sure.
Because I believe they were his strongest performances and his most Jean-Luc Picard-like moments. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and by the way, just so you know, the Best Picture winner in 2004 was Million Dollar Baby, Clint Eastwood.
Oh. Okay.
That one's one that'll float around. 2006
That
was
did
The
float
Departed,
around.
and that
Yeah,
was on
that
TV
was
a lot.
that was on TV a lot.
2007 was No Country for Old Men. That was another one.
That floated around.
Slumdog
See-
Millionaire, and then The Hurt Locker.
Okay, it was right around the Hurt Locker / Avatar time when things started going weird. By the way, I saw the Hurt Locker. Great movie. Did you see it?
Nope.
Probably
haven't
hits
seen
too
it.
close to home. I don't recommend you watch it.
I-
Great movie.
I've also heard it's so inaccurate.
Well, that you'd probably have a Stargate issue with that, yeah.
Possibly. I'd be willing. You see, I'm willing to let Stargate go because that's science fiction. This is supposed to be a war drama.
Yeah.
And remember, then they started really like it. They started expanding from. In 2009, they went from. 2008 was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then they went to. That's when they went to 10 in 2009. So now you're looking at so many different more, but you're comparing 2010, The King's Speech. I saw it. That was a good movie.
It was pretty
But it
good,
was up
but definitely
against-
not a blockbuster.
No, it was up against things like 127 Hours, The Social Network, Toy Story 3.
Oh,
Not
Toy Story
pretty
3
interesting.
deserved
Yeah.
Best Picture.
The Fighter.
That got a lot of
that
accolades. That got a whole. I never saw that, but I heard, a
All
lot
right,
of good
2011, The Artist.
things.
Up against things like The Help and Moneyball and War Horse.
War Horse probably should have earned that.
Oh, it was another
The
Spielberg
Artist, a black
classic.
and white silent film. Come on now. Like that, they did that just for the novelty of it. That's what they did. That movie, come on. I didn't see it, but
2012, Argo won. I actually liked it. It
go
was a
fuck
good movie.
yourself.
Yeah, that was funny as shit. And they were making fun. It was basically they were playing off the Star Wars thing, which, but then it was going up against Zero Dark 30, Les Mis, Lincoln, Life of Pi, Django Unchained, and Silver Linings Playbook. That was a stacked year. Lincoln was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Some of these movies had legit shots. 12 Years a Slave won the next year.
I hear that was a great movie to watch that you'd never want to watch again.
Well, makes sense.
So I'm like,
that went up
awesome.
against Wolf of
Why do
Wall
I even want to
Street,
see
Dallas
it the first
Buyers
time?
Club, and American Hustle.
You see,
Captain
okay.
Phillips. See?
See, now we're getting into the realm of weird, like, historical movies. See, these are becoming historical movies, retelling of things. So, like, what was it before that?
They're period pieces.
Yeah, period pieces.
Until 2014,
that's like the last
when you
3
got
years.
Birdman
up to
one.
And that was an art house film. That was all done in one take. That was like a special kind of thing.
Still kind of hit a little into the superhero genre, just to say people go, oh, see, this guy made it huge playing a superhero.
It was a commentary about superheroing.
Yeah.
And
but that went up against things like American Sniper and more Wes Anderson shit.
And Wes Anderson, I don't know, man. Wes Anderson is to Hollywood as the Emperor's New Clothes is to the public. I don't see it. I just don't see it.
Then you go to Spotlight. Now you're back in the history.
Yep.
Recent history, but history.
Mm-hmm.
That
movie,
beat out
by
The
way.
Martian and Mad Max Fury Road. Those are science fiction. I mean,
Yeah, so a
The Martian
historical
is
historical
almost-
documentation.
beats science fiction. Got it.
Yeah, exactly.
It beat The Revenant too, though.
I haven't seen that movie, but the stuff
Oh,
I
yeah,
heard
then-
about the bear
then
scene
Kate-
was
then-
just
It was rough to watch. But then you get Moonlight, right?
yep. La
And
La
that went up
Land.
against Arrival. That was a science fiction movie.
Yeah, that had no chance. That was too artsy.
Hidden Figures was history.
Historical drama.
Hacksaw Ridge,
I think also historical drama.
yes.
Was that
Manchester
the one with
Manchester by
Garfield?
the Sea, Massachusetts. So, yes, Andrew Garfield, an Englishman attempting to play a Southerner.
He
The
did a good
accent was
job.
all over the place.
It was okay.
But here you go. The Shape of Water.
That did win Best Picture.
hmm That beat such period pieces as The Darkest Hour and Dunkirk.
Okay.
And I
Yep.
think it beat a Coen Brothers. Nope, that's not Coen Brothers. It just looks like a Coen Brothers movie. 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Oh yeah, that
but-
would totally look like a Coen Brothers movie.
But it also beat Get Out,
yeah,
which
I
is kind of a
didn't get Get
psychological with
It
some
was a
hints of
psychological
sci-fi there.
thing. There was definitely sci-fi elements to it. I didn't get Out, and I'm not embarrassed to say it. I just don't. I didn't understand what was
Here's-
being said. So
Here's just going down the list. The winner in 2018 was The Green Book. Okay, that was a good movie. I very much enjoyed it.
historical drama.
Yep. Then it was Black Panther, science fiction, fantasy, superhero.
Mm-hmm.
Black Klansman, historical fiction, or the history. That was, again, a historical American biographical crime drama. Bohemian Rhapsody, music biopic.
Mm-hmm.
A Star is Born, remake, like the 4th remake of A Star is Born.
Yep.
Then you get, the next year was Parasite, which was a foreign film that won, not even in English. So that was actually an interesting one.
That had a terrible message to it, though. It was a terrible message. Kill the rich is what the message was.
Well, then you get, but that beats out Ford versus Ferrari, history,
historical drama.
kind of
Good, great movie, by the way.
The Irishman, another
Historical drama.
Jojo Rabbit. Ooh,
That was a tough watch.
yeah.
That was,
Joker, another tough watch.
I see.
Little
I want to
Women,
see it, but
that's
I'm a little
never an
afraid
easy watch.
to.
1917, that was a tough watch. And Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, because every now and then you got to just watch somebody barbecue someone with a flamethrower. It's another,
that what
and that's
happened?
another one.
I fell
Just
asleep
one.
halfway through it.
It's another one of those. It's a Tarantino film. I watched it on a plane ride to Saudi Arabia. I got to be honest with you, I very much enjoyed the movie.
Well,
It was a
he changes
Tarantino movie.
history.
One
Like
does.
Sharon Tate doesn't die, right?
Well, yes. Why would you kill Margot Robbie? What's wrong with
Right.
you?
Right. I remember all the outrage was she had like 5 lines in the whole movie. I'm like, dude,
She did not have a ton of lines.
maybe 5 lines. There was outrage about it that she deserved more. And it's like that wasn't what the role was for. The role was a structural piece. It wasn't meant to be heavy in dialogue.
You're not Nomadland, Judas and the Black Messiah, The Father, Mank, like Promising Young Woman, Sound
What the
of
hell
Metal.
are these?
These
I mean,
these
this is
are
the COVID
these
year.
are all the. This was the COVID year. these were all the ones that were supposed to be coming out in. Yeah. So like that does not appear to be most of them seem to be kind of artsy. Trial of the Chicago 7, a few biopics. Then the next year you have Coda, which that one not bad.
That had something to say.
Yeah.
That was a art housey passion project.
Yep. And then Belfast, another British coming of age drama directed by Kenneth Branagh. So that's more art housey.
I wanted to see that. But yeah, that would be art housey.
Don't Look Up is sort of science fiction-y.
It was dumb. Don't Look Up. It was funny, but it was dumb. It was a dumbass movie.
King Richard, another.
The metaphor in Don't Look Up was completely flawed.
Yeah. Well, King Richard's another sports biopic,
Yeah.
West Side Story, musical. Not one we've had much of. But
that, again, Spielberg did that remake.
Yeah. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. That's like there you go. There's something that's sci-fi.
Yep.
That earned
Ke Huy Quan the Oscar, didn't it?
Yes, it did, and supposedly well earned. And then that went up against All Quiet on the Western Front, war drama, Avatar, science fiction, Elvis, biopic, Fabelmans, pseudo biopic, Top Gun Maverick.
A biopic. Top Gun Maverick.
Top Gun Maverick is a biopic?
No. No. Fabelmans was a biopic. But yes. Top Gun Maverick saved the box office for another 2 years, man.
Right. But and then you get this past year, Oppenheimer, period piece. Mm-hmm. Barbie, period piece.
Historical period piece.
That's right. Sorry. Barbie was a historic period piece.
Oh my God. No, you're making a menstrual joke. Don't do that.
No, I was not making a menstrual joke. I was making a joke that it's from the 60s.
Oh.
Anyway.
Should I think about why my brain went there then? Because I don't like that.
You should go and stand in the corner of shame.
I was telling you not to do that. Go ahead.
There's really like American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall. None of these. I mean, I guess Barbie is a fantasy, but all the rest, still.
Barbie didn't deserve to be in Best Picture category.
I don't know. Didn't see it. Can't say I know anything about it. All I can tell you is we ran down this list and there was very little in the way of science fiction, very little in the way of superheroes, very little in the way of fantasy. I'm not saying completely devoid and everything everywhere all at once kind of blows up but then you look period piece, art house. These are all the wins. There's not a Star Trek movie in the lot, not a Star Wars movie in the lot, one Marvel movie, one Lord of the Rings movie. And that's in the 21st century. I mean, you go ahead and you go all the way back to 2000, Gladiator, period piece.
Sword and Sandal. Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Massive mainstream movie.
Chocolat, art house movie, foreign.
Art house.
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, fantasy, art house, martial arts. Aaron Brockovich.
Shockingly mainstream, by the way.
I know. I went to see it. Traffic. Okay. A little, right? The next year is Beautiful Mind, Gosford Park, In the Bedroom, Moulin Rouge, and then Fellowship of the Ring. The next year, Two Towers was in there. So at least 3 years in a row, a Lord of the Rings movie, a fantasy movie, was nominated for an Oscar. and they
Yep,
finally
and
won.
deserved it all 3 of those years.
I completely I agree that they had a shot. You know, Gangs of New York was good, and that went up against Two Towers. I heard The Pianist was excellent. I don't really know much about The Hours, and Chicago was another musical, which some people liked.
I saw Chicago. It was all right. I mean, the selling point was that we had mainstream Hollywood stars singing, like they were using their real singing voices, and these are stars that are not known to be singing. So that was the big selling point. That was the novelty behind Chicago. Chicago, in and of itself, as a movie, as a musical movie, did not deserve Best Picture, in my opinion. It won solely on novelty.
Well, you know, I gotta be honest with you, man. I mean, when you look at some of the best science fiction movies you've ever seen, how many of them would you say would legitimately stack up against, even deserved a nomination?
Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 1.
I could go with that.
That had heart. It had growth. It had development. Had introspection. Wonderful writing with dialogue. A fantastic journey. It was a
And
very good journey.
yeah, no, I'll grant you that.
Endgame.
Endgame definitely deserved a nomination.
Mm-hmm. Captain America: The First
Infinity
Avenger.
War could have Infinity War could have earned one too.
I would say so, yeah. But
I would
First
say
Avenger.
Winter Soldier over First Avenger.
Yeah, but they were different years, so
Right, I'm just saying. Well, you get a period piece, so that's almost a shoo-in to be looked at for nomination, right?
yeah.
It's a World War II epic
Mm-hmm.
with a tragic love story. What? That
Come
could
on,
have gone
Hollywood.
that could have gone up against From Here to Eternity.
Come on, Academy. What are you doing here? What are you doing?
You got Tommy Lee Jones on there.
True.
He's grumpy. I mean, what would you say? You think Star Trek 09 deserved a nomination?
Yeah, if we're gonna use the standard of what it was like with Gladiator or Lord of the Rings, I would say it definitely deserved a nomination. The other two, absolutely not. But Star Trek 09, definitely.
I really think you need to rewatch Beyond.
I own it, if that means anything. I don't know. I hate watched Beyond. I actually have a tweet thread of me watching it. I should send you the thread.
Just rewatch it. I think you will find it better. And if it helps, watch an episode of Discovery first, then go watch Beyond.
Yeah, to get the taste out of my mouth. Oh my god. And that's the other thing. Beyond reminds me of right at the tipping point of when everything started going wrong.
All right. Wrath of Khan.
Definitely deserved it. Definitely deserved it. That was talking about fear of growing old, the changing of your life, moving into a new chapter.
A revenge movie, plus it's
dealing with the monsters of your past to move forward.
Yeah, plus it's an allegory for Moby Dick, and you know how much they love allegories for old classic novels.
That is true. That is true. So yeah, I'd say that, and I'd also say, Star Trek 4 deserved it.
4 is an interesting one. You could probably sell me on that. 6, I think, would have been a good one.
6, The only thing wrong with 6, and believe me, that I think that it's probably my favorite out of all of them, the original 6. The Undiscovered Country's only flaw is that, and nowadays maybe that's not so unheard of, conspiracy wise, but you had the Klingon industrial war complex and the Federation industrial war complex
Military
conspiring
industrial
together.
complex.
Military industrial complexes. The military industrial complexes of both those entities conspired together to make sure that they would stay enemies. Now, that's what gave me pause, because I'm like, that seems a little convoluted. Now ask me how I would feel about it.
Well, I mean, if Star Trek used more money, it would really make a lot more sense. But there's
I'm
people
just saying,
who've been at war so long, and they're so set in their ways. It's also about prejudice and growing beyond your prejudice.
I know, and those are very good themes too. I got caught up
Star
in
Trek.
what I found convoluted originally, and now I'm sitting back going, oh, maybe it's not that. Maybe it's not that convoluted. No. There were some good things in First Contact, and it was a good, it had some good horror elements to it. But there are some things that just didn't make sense, like crawling into that little compartment to open up the gate, the door to show Alfre Woodard that she was in orbit. Like, that made no sense to do that. And
he was just showing off his toys, man.
And Picard suddenly regressing in his psychological healing when it came to the Borg. It would have made sense if they had not run into the Borg since Best of Both Worlds. But
they weren't being assimilated. Like, his ship was being assimilated. He's in the past. Shit's a little dicey. He just got the keys to the car, and you ever worry about what happened if you dinged your dad's new car? Come on now, that's just.
I'm just saying.
I haven't even paid off the warranty on this yet. Look,
I'm gonna hit it.
The way I say it is, there was definitely. I mean, Star Wars had nominations.
Star Wars did, and I agree. Star Trek should have been more involved, but
The Mandalorian could have easily won for theme alone.
Yeah, and it was ignored. I mean, I think it was nominated.
I don't even think they won for visual effects, and they got a fucking life-size puppet that practically moves on its own.
Yeah. That's worth $3 million, by the way.
And the volume technology alone should have been enough.
That revolutionizes the way you film things. I mean, it's incredible. That was a technological thing. So I don't feel satisfied. Do you? It was a gripe session with no resolution to it.
No, but I mean, the fact of the matter is, it deserved discussion. Why, why some of these shows aren't, given the respect they're deserved. I mean, they really do. Some of them really do deserve awards recognition. Now, granted, those of us who are, fans, it's a little insulting to us too. It's like people are saying we're not good enough, and you just kind of want to crotch punch a few of these guys, a little bit of groin bludgeoning until they get the point.
That would be quite nice. That would be awesome.
But I mean,
alas, that fantasy will not play out.
I I
So,
know.
Until the next time, everybody.
Oh,
I'm PS Mackay.
my.
I'm PS Mackay. Wow. I'm PS McKay.
Oh my. Oh
We are those
my.
sci-fi guys. It's out there.
And I'm DT Cavman, and I'm hanging out here with Captain Sulu.
Wait, you didn't say you're coming from the high ground.
Oh. Undo, my mistake. I'm DT Cavman, and come up on the high ground. I'm playing the High Kings.
There we go. I don't think we need to give any credits at this point. We know who we are. It's Alpha Site Productions, everybody. Go to X and go to thosesci-fi-guys.com. So long, everyone. I'm inclined to let this play all the way till the end. There's only 30 seconds left, or 15 seconds left.
Woohoo!